Hello, good morning. Today's lecture is about budget, budgeting, uh, or you can say introduction to budget. So let's start. In our lecture, learning outcome, one of the purpose or expected outcome of the module is to discuss the purpose, nature, benefits, and preparation of operational budgets. So why budget? So there are some objectives or purpose of budget are stated here. So firstly, if I say what is budget? Budget is a plan, but it's a numerical plan. What we want to do in future is a plan, but if we include numbers in our plan, how much we want to produce, how much cost it will require, what's the cost of material it will require, what are the cost of overheads in different periods we have to spend. So these numbers are budget, and budget helps us firstly to implement strategy. Okay, what is a strategy? Strategies are long-term plan for the organization. Okay, so what is our goal for next 25 years? Where we want to go in next 25 years? That's the strategy. Okay, so that strategy can be implemented gradually by year budgets or plan. So the budget is a mechanism of implementing the long-term goal or objective of the organization. Second, to evaluate managerial performance. The second purpose, based on budget, we can evaluate the performance of the management, the people who performs, for example, the production manager. So what was our budget of production for the current year and what actually we performed or production manager actually produced? That we can compare and evaluate the performance of production manager, purchase manager, or other managerial personalities in the organization. Third, to provide a means to control activities. Budget can help us to control the activities of the organization. So budget will control. So for example, we have a budget of purchasing 20,000 pounds of material this month. So when we go for purchasing materials, actually, physically, practically, then we will think we have a budget. We can't purchase or we should not purchase material beyond 20,000. So 20,000 is a kind of limit that will control our activities. It's the same thing for other activities or other cases as well. To motivate managers to achieve targets. Okay, for example, if you have a target that you'll produce 20,000 units of product in this month. So though generally you produce 15,000, 16,000, but you will strive to achieve 20,000. You'll get a motivation. So if I can achieve 20,000, then I'll get these rewards. Okay, I'll be able to motivate or I'll be able to satisfy top management to get my promotion. All right, and also another objective there, to coordinate activities and assist in communication. Okay, so budget actually is being used as a mechanism of communication. coordination of the activities between purchase department, between sales department, between production department, between finance departments. Okay, so purchase manager says, I want to purchase materials of 30,000 pounds. The purchase finance manager will say, no, I can't. You can't go beyond this because this is the budget. The budget for purchase this year is 25,000 or 20,000. So it's a mechanism of coordination between the department, between the divisions. All right. And also it can be used as a mechanism of feedback. So what we actually did, based on that, we can provide feedback. What was our limitations or weaknesses that we can identify based on our budget and provide suggestions and feedback to other departments. Budgetary control, as we just mentioned in our previous slide, that budget can be used as a mechanism of control of the activities of the organization. All right. So budget and budgetary control can be, say, so create, plan, reflect, and evaluate. So firstly, you'll create the plan, what we want to control, what we want to achieve, what we want to, where we want to be, right? And then based on our budget, we will create the day-to-day plan, weekly plan, monthly plan. And we will try to implement those budgets, plans, or activities that we prepare based on the budgets. Budget is our kind of a framework that controls our activities, that helps us to plan what we want to achieve, to plan what we, where we want to go, or what's our destination. And that is the thing that we want to implement. Measure and record actual performance. And then what we do, what we actually did, record it, measure it, and then compare with the plan, with the budgets, what we supposed to achieve, and where we what we actually did. So if we perform better, then you'll get reward for it. If not, then can be punished, can be penalized, can be, say, take some sorts of measures to rectify the performance of the managers. So budget is a basis or a mechanism, a framework that can help management in controlling and overall controlling or improving the performance of the organization. So different types of budgets an organization prepares. So budget can be classified based on functions and based on behavior of the budget. So based on the behavior, how budgets behave, what's the nature of budget? Budget can be classified into 4: static, flexible, incremental, zero-based. So static budget is actually a budget that is fixed for a particular period. That is static budget, fixed budget. Flexible budget is a budget that is being prepared based on the static budget, the budget that we prepared before. We prepare a budget at the end of the period, that actually flexible budget. Based on our actual results, what is the budget for the actual activity? And the flexible budget is actually prepared at the end of the period to evaluate the performance of the managers accurately. For example, if we have a plan to produce 10,000 units, and actually we produced 9,000 units. So can we compare the performance of the manager now? No, we can't, because the plan was 10,000, actual result is 9,000. So obviously actual cost of material, cost of labor, cost of overhead, everything should be lower than planned. So it doesn't mean that manager's performance is good. No. Why? Because the actual costs are for 9,000 units. And that's why if you want to compare the performance or evaluate the performance of the manager, you have to prepare a budget for 9,000 units. That is the unit that actually you produced. So if you prepare a budget for 9,000 and then compare the result of actual activity of 9,000, actual activity 9,000, actual budgeted activity 9,000, and then you can compare. So budget 9,000, actual 9,000, then you can compare. Okay, and that's why the flexible budget is prepared for actual activity at the end of the accounting period. Incremental budget, that is an approach of preparation of budget that is being prepared based on the previous year's budget. Just increase the amount according to the needs, according to the, say, inflated situation or increase of production. So last year we had a plan to produce 10,000. This year we want to produce 12,000. So just increase additional amount for 2,000 and then add the numbers with the previous budget, and that will be the current year's budget. So it's a simple way of preparing budget. That is incremental budget. Zero-based budget is another kind of budget that is prepared from the scratch, from zero, start with zero. What we did last year or year before, just forget it. We have to start from zero. What is the budget? Zero. Start with zero and then prepare your budget. Evaluate what you need, what are the functions, what are the activities, and prepare a budget afresh. Budgets classification based on function. Altogether, all these budgets can be recognized as master budget, or what we can say master plan, the overall plan of the organization. So the functional budgets are sales budget for sales activity, for production budget, purchase budget or raw materials budget, production overhead budget, sales and administrative overhead budget, cash budget, and budgeted income statement, budgeted balance sheet. So for each and every activity, we prepare a budget in advance. So these are functional budget, and combinedly, all these functional budget are recognized as master budget. Budget preparation, negotiation, consultation is an important part of budget preparation. So top down, that is the people who are in the top consult with the people who are in different levels, middle level or lower level people. So top down budget is set by management and imposed on those who will implement the budget. So in this budget, in this process of budget, there is kind of no or very low negotiation or consultation. But bottom-up budget is a budget that is actually start from lower level. Okay, so people who are in the lower level, they provide information to the top level management for preparation of the budget. So that includes more negotiation and consultation with different managerial levels. Sequence of activities or budgetary process start with communication, objective, what we want to achieve, what's the long-term plan. That's the start of the budget. So budget will change depending on the long-term goal of the organization, strategic plan of the organization. And how organization want to prepare the budget, they should communicate with different managerial levels. So it can be bottom up or top down, right? It can be imposed or it can be consultative. And the next factor is determine the critical factors. Identify the areas which are critical, which are most important, which are significant, right? For example, last year we faced problem in, say, in our research and development areas. So this year you should concentrate on that. This year this should be your focus. It's important. And prepare an initial set of budgets at the beginning. You can start, and which are easy, or based on the available information you can prepare some initial budgets, and if needs you can rectify or change afterwards. Negotiate budgets with the line managers who are in the same line. You can consult with, get their feedbacks or get their expectations, what they expect, what they want in this year or next year, regarding organization. That can be that should be a part of discussions. Coordinate and reviews budgets. So after preparation of the budgets, and then you can coordinate and make some sorts of reviews based on the expert opinion, based on the people in opinion of the people who are involved in the budget preparation, or who would be implementing the budgets, who will be impacted because of these budgets. Get some sorts of feedback from those people, and then if you need, you can coordinate, you can make some sorts of adjustment afterwards. And then accept budgets in final form after modification. And then ongoing review. So the review can continue for the next year. Incremental budget, as we just mentioned before, is just made some sorts of changes in the last year's activity, last year's figure, and then prepare the budget for the current year. But there are some benefits of preparation of this budget. But there are some limitations as well, but there are some benefits in it. The budget is stable and change is gradual. So it's not a huge change, kind of consider the last year. If it is not significant change, if there is no significant change in the organization, you can just simply prepare a budget based on the last year's budget. Managers can operate their department on a consistent basis because there is no significant change. There's a kind of similar approach, same kind of same thing almost. So managers don't need to worry about the significant change. Relatively simple to operate and easy to understand, right? There is no nothing that you can start from the beginning and any huge changes now. So it's easy and simple. Conflict may be avoided if department can be seen to be treated similarly. So if all the departments are treated similarly, given the same importance, so conflict can be resolved easily. Coordination between budget is easier to achieve. There is no significant change. So what is it was last year. So there is nothing big changes. So easy to coordinate. The impact of change can be seen quickly. So as it is almost the same thing, just slight change from the previous years. So if there is a significant change in a particular area, that easily can be identified. But there are some limitations of incremental budget. So limitations are assume things will continue in the same way, right? In the incremental budget, we assume that everything will be same, everything is similar, but it may not be. There may be huge change in the current year. No incentive for developing new ideas. People don't expect huge change, significant change, so no motivation. no incentive for new thinking, new ideas, new developments. So that's not good. Need something change. Yeah. If you want to develop and make radical change in the organization, that's not possible in case of incremental budget. No incentive to reduce cost. Gradually, it will just increase. Oh, last year it is this, so this year should be increase, and increase. So if you start from zero, then there is some sort of thinking. How can we reduce cost? But in case of incremental, people think, oh, we will do a bit more, we'll do more, we'll do more in the next year. So it's just increasing. Sometimes it can be very costly. Encourages a spending up to the budget so that the budget is maintained next year. So every time they want to, oh, this was the budget. If we don't spend, the next year it will not increase. So that's why encourage spending, increase of expenses. Budget may become out of date and no longer relate to the level of activity or type of work being carried out. So as it is not being prepared considering the activity from scratch as like a zero base, so sometimes it may not be relating to the activity. Priority for resources may have changed since the budget were set originally. So there is no specific emphasis on particular resource, right? It's almost the same budget, same thing. There may be budgetary slack built into the budget, which is never reviewed. So there may be a difference is created, but people don't review these things. In some cases, it can happen in case of incremental budget. Zero-based budget is a kind of updated version of budget preparation of behavior. But behavior of budget is being start from zero. So evaluate each and every activity considering the current context, current situation of the company, current economic position of the country, or financial position or global financial situation. Considering all aspects, you can prepare your budget from the scratch, from the beginning, from starting from zero, right? For each and every activity, you have some sort of justification. Why I want to do that, what I have to do, right? How much cost I need to spend for this particular activity. So it's a kind of thorough evaluation. It's a detailed kind of justification is being provided before preparation of the budget, before determining the amounts, right? So every year's budget can be different, right? And obviously, it depends on the situation, the plan, or the activity of the organization plan for the current year. Zero-based budget is now commonly used by the government and non-profit organization, particularly local governments. Some important benefits includes the resources are allocated based on the needs and expected benefits. Right? So what's the needs? You have to justify the needs. You should prove that this is what you need for the current year. Creates a questioning attitudes. Why we need this, right? So it creates some sorts of questioning attitudes among the people, right? Why we need it, how we need it, how can we reduce it, how can we increase it? Need justification for each and every activity. Focus on output in relation to input, right? So if I do it, what would be my output? What would be my benefit? Why should I spend this money in this particular area? So this is justified, well justified. But it's very, see, if you want to do all these things every year, it requires lots of hours of work of the people who are involved in budget preparation, right? It's very time consuming, it's very costly. Evaluation of each program and resource requirements is time consuming, and it requires huge negotiations of the people who are involved or who are being impacted because of the budgets. Is the kind of relationship between the budgets. So actually, incremental budgets or the zero-based budget. This is not the budget that we'll prepare. This is just kind of these are the behavior of budgets, how we are preparing the budgets. Okay, but the budget that we actually need to prepare is the sales budget, production budget. So these are kind of the relationship of the budgets, right? Into the relationship. So sales, production, all so say all these things, administrative overhead, marketing overhead. So these are kind of interrelated, and all these budgets actually impact your cash budget or income statement budget, budgeted income statement, or balance sheet. So all these budgets. So based on these budget, we will prepare this, right? So and obviously there are some budget which one budget depends on another budget, and so as I said, balance sheet or cash budget, for example, cash budget depends on sales budget, depends on production budget, depends on material budget, depends on labor budget, it depends on overhead budgets. So these are the budget, these are the dependent, these are dependent. Even production budget depends on sales budget, material budget depends on production budget. So one budget is dependent on another budget. So the budgets are kind of interrelated with each other. So one budget is related to another budget, but which one we should start with? Which budget we should start? What the budget that we have to prepare at the beginning? So that is actually sales budget. Sales budget should be the starting point. We should determine based on the market survey, market research, we have to find out how much product we can sell to the market. And then based on sales, we will be able to determine what should we produce based on our beginning and ending inventory. Okay, and then we can, based on our production, we can determine how much raw material we need, how much labor we need, how much overhead we need. So all the budget actually depends on our sales target, our sales budget, right? So yeah, that's about the conceptual issues, and I'll go to the numbers in the next part of the videos. Thank you very much for watching.